Tyler, the Creator's new album, Chromakopia, literally just came out. I finished the album in 50 minutes, and yes, the album has a 52-minute runtime, but I didn't listen to Noid, because I wanted to hear the rest, okay? And overall, yes, it's what I was expecting. But basically for this, I'm just going to go through each song and give my thoughts on it and give a rating. I have been very excited for this to drop, and I don't even think I'm disappointed, so let's get started. Okay, Saint Chroma is like the introduction to the album. And at first I thought it was like just an introduction, like the opening part of it is kind of slow, and it doesn't really feel like it's meant to be a main song on the album. And I was fine with it just being a nice little introduction, but then the second half started playing, and to be honest with you, I actually really liked it. Yeah, and after listening to the whole album, I can definitely see why that's the first song. Plus it says Chromakopia in it like 1,000 times, so you know, you gotta open with that. But it's definitely not the best song on the album, and if I have to give it a rating out of 10, I think I'll give it a modest 6.5, which is pretty decent. But chances are I'm not going to listen to this unless I'm listening to the full album. Okay, the next song is Ratata, and I couldn't listen to this song without thinking of the Pokemon. But even putting that aside, I wasn't super impressed with this track. I mean, granted, it's not my kind of style. I don't listen to much of this kind of rap. And to me, it's just not that appealing, and I feel like it just goes on for ages. Even though it's not that long of a song, there's not really much variety in there. But this is kind of one of the two sides of Tyler, the Creator. The other side we see a lot in this album. And if you like this side more, then this is the perfect song. But for me, I'll give Ratata like a 5. It's just kind of okay. Okay, and then we get Noid, and I've already made a full video talking about Noid. And I absolutely love this track. It's definitely one of, if not the best song on the album. It has every single part of Tyler, the Creator that I love. Yeah, it's like nearly 5 minutes long, and it doesn't feel like it drags at all. Okay, I might just close my blind, because this is getting bright. Okay, granted, I probably like the song a little bit more because I've been able to listen to it. And personally, I think the more you listen to a song, generally, the more you like it to a certain extent before you get sick of it, of course. So maybe it's not fair to be ranking Noid along with all the other ones, but I'm obviously going to because it's in the album, and I do think it is probably one of the strongest tracks. I would very happily give Noid like an 8.5 out of 10. And this to me really does feel like the single of the album, if that makes sense. I feel like a lot of albums tend to have that one song that everybody knows, or like the one that you're guaranteed to like, and I think Noid is going to be that song. And I fully expect this to be the most popular one from the album. Okay, the next song is Darling I, and I thought this was a great change of pace. This is the kind of thing that got me into Tyler, the Creator in the first place. It's the modern indie romantic synthy kind of song, but it's also got those like harsh beats in the middle, which is what I love about Tyler, the Creator. It's not a slow song, but it feels like it's going to be really easy listening, and I'm going to enjoy it. And I've already added this one to my playlist. I think Darling I gets like a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, next song is Hey Jame, which I think is trying to follow the same kind of footsteps as the last one. It's got that kind of romantic tone to it. It's a bit indie, it's a bit softer, it's a bit calmer. But I don't think it actually works in this because it's kind of just 4 minutes of the same thing. And while that's not necessarily a bad thing, I mean, I listen to indie music, and a lot of indie music is the same thing over and over and over again. But this one just kind of doesn't do it for me, and I think it is a bit long. It definitely drags. But it's by no means bad, so I'll probably give it like a 6 out of 10. Okay, I Killed You is the next song, and this is trying to change the pace from the last one. I think this album can be kind of split into two different types of song. Like on one side it's the Ratata, and the other side is Darling I. And where Hey Jane is on the Darling I side, I Killed You is on the Ratata side. I don't know how to pronounce Ratata because I want to say Ratata because Ratata sounds wrong because it's the Pokemon, but I know it's not Ratata because that's dumb as fuck. I just don't like that song. I don't like that song. But I tell you what, I Killed You I think is better than Ratata. I like it more. It's a little bit more varied. It's not as harsh, and I think it is a bit easier to listen to. Plus, it's a little bit shorter. Whereas Ratata just kind of felt like one verse over and over and over again. This has a little bit more, and I like a little bit more. And I like I Killed You. I think I'll give it a 7 out of 10. And the next is Judge Judy, which is kind of the same vein as what I just said last time about Ratata and I Killed You. I think if you want to go for that like indie romance kind of style, or like, I'm not saying it's like an indie romance song, I'm saying the indie romance side of Tyler, the Creator, this is the song that you should go for on the album at least. This song, when I was first listening to it, it didn't really do it for me at the start, and it's kind of a long song, so I let it play out, and as it was going, I was getting it more, if you know what I mean. And even after just like listening to it once and then letting it sit a little bit, it has grown on me. I think I would also give Judge Judy a 7. Okay, Sticky is definitely a weird one, and I'm not sure how to feel about it. I would be lying if I said that I didn't enjoy it, and I love songs that are weird. There's nothing wrong with a weird song. I don't know, I'm really on the fence about it. I think it's unfair for me to give this one a rating right now, because I imagine I'll come to a conclusion as I listen to it in like the coming weeks. But for now, I'm just gonna give it like a 6.5, because I don't think it's a bad song, I enjoyed it. But I'll just let it sit and do its thing, and we'll all be happy. Okay, now we have gotten to Take Your Mask Off, and I also really like this track. This is definitely one of the contestants for the best song on the album with Noid. I'm gonna automatically give this one a 7.5 as well. I do think it's on the same level. Honestly, I feel like I'm going to be listening to this like in my playlists more. I feel like Noid is a more like, you have to be ready for that experience. It's got all the different parts and it's so much more dramatic. You've got to be ready to feel the song. And Take Your Mask Off is kind of the same, but it's not as intense, and I feel like I would enjoy this more just regular like listening experience. this. I know I'm probably not making any sense, but this is just how I listen to music. I listen to it so much I need a system. But Take Your Mask Off is definitely one of the strongest tracks on the album. And it's followed by Tomorrow, which is also one that I really enjoyed. Or like, I suppose I didn't like enjoy it this time around, but I know it's something I'm going to enjoy. Because it's nice and slow, and it takes its time, and it's not the boring kind of slow, it's the chill kind of slow. I think when I first listened to it, the first word that came to my mind was pleasant. It was just pleasant. And I like that coming from Tyler, the Creator, because a lot of the time Tyler, the Creator has like a first half of the song is slow and pleasant, and the second half of it is a bit more oomph to it. And like Tomorrow has that, but it's not too much, and I think it fills its role in the album of being a nice slow song. And especially because of the song that comes after it, I think it fits really well, and I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. And the next is of course Thought I Was Dead. Now I obviously watched the video that was uploaded to the YouTube, which wasn't the full song. I watched that and I didn't actually like love it. I didn't think it was that good. But I don't know if it's grown on me. Something about being in the context of the album and hearing the whole song in full, it's really grown on me. And also the music video is just so cool. I loved watching the music video. And it definitely does feel like a counterpart to Tomorrow, but I don't think either is better than the other objectively. I gave Tomorrow a 7, I'm gonna give Thought I Was Dead a 7 too. I really like him. Like, I really like it. It's really dramatic, and it's not dramatic in the kind of oomphy hip-hop kind of way that some Tyler, the Creator songs are, which I do love, by the way. It's dramatic in like the slow and orchestral way, and I really like that as well. Yeah, I don't know. I love this track. 7.5 out of 10 is 100% worthy. Oh, okay, and then we get to Balloon, and I have some things to say about this. When it started playing, I was like, oh, this is really goofy. I hope it's gonna turn around. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. I just didn't really like it that much. I think it's quite basic, and it does have a few different parts to it, but none of them seem to really flow well for me, and none of them like hit as hard as any of the rest of the album does. It kind of just seems a bit mismatched for me. I don't hate it, but I don't love it, especially after having like a multiple strong tracks, and it's about to be followed by a really strong track as well. And I do think it's really important to assess a full song as part of an album, not just a standalone single, you know? But I don't think it's the worst on the album. I'm gonna give it like a 5.5, so second worst. And then for the final song, we're ending on a very strong note, and I think a great finale to the album. Okay, this is gonna be really random, but something that I've noticed about albums that have themes is they tend to have an introduction, then an okay song, then a really good song. That's just usually how it rolls for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. Whether or not it's a coincidence, that's kind of what happens here too. Like, to me, Saint Chroma is a great introduction. Then you have like the okay Ratata, and then you've got Noid. Where Noid feels like it makes a really strong start to the album, even though it's not right at the start. I Hope You Find Your Way Home is a really great end to the album, and they kind of feel like two different parts of the same coin, if that makes sense. I mean, it just has everything that you want from Tyler, the Creator, and everything that you want from Chromakopia as an album. Like I mentioned, like the two different sides of Tyler, the Creator that we see in this album. The heavy, harsh hip-hop side, and then the slow, romantic, kind of synthy sides. And I Hope You Find Your Way Home is a great mix of both of those, but in a more like slow and peaceful kind of way. Whereas Noid is also a great mix of those, but it's in a more intense way. And what's great about both of these songs is they're both really good by themselves, but when you put them together in an album, they make more sense, and I really like that. I don't really think you can ask for a much better end to the album. And so I think as like a standalone song, I'd give it a 7.5, which is still really good. Just because of how it sits in the album, because I'm a weirdo who cares about that, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. But yeah, hi, I can't believe you put up with all of my rambling. That's crazy. But overall, Chromakopia gets a 7.5 out of 10, which is honestly a really strong rating. I will 100% be listening to this album in full a lot, and chances are my ratings will change, but this was a first listen video, and it really was a first listen. So apart from Noid, those are my first impressions of all the songs. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I made somewhat sense. If not, let me know. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Toodles.